Hello there, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm opening up a Dr. Pepper. I've got my glasses. We're gonna just have a moment of silence for this candle that will never be done. I keep waiting to finish this candle off and it's not happening. We're still using a Christmas candle called Frosty Nog of Rumfire, whatever. It smells delicious. It's taken me a long time to get the candle. This isn't what this video is about. Let's talk. Hi. Welcome back to my channel. We are going to be doing a recent deck roundup. Also, I have a bunch of books, so it's not just decks. We're going to talk about books. If you're new to this channel, hi, hello. I'm Lisa. I like to make YouTube videos about tarot, oracle, everything even remotely connected to all of those things. I recently made my very first deck. I'm very excited. I'm working on it. The Kickstarter for that just finished. It was successful thanks to all of your support, so thank you so much. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, oh, did my candle just go out? Yo, this is how this video is going to be. I can tell. This is what's happening. It doesn't want to light. Or stay lit, rather. I think I know what the problem is, so I'm just going to be a little redneck about this and just kind of beat off some of the burnt bits. See, we should be fine now. Listen, it's not the classy solution, but it's a solution. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I made a tarot deck. Hi, I'm really excited about it. This is just a prototype. Well, not even a real prototype. This is like a test print of my deck. This is literally what I've been living, eating, breathing, sleeping, dreaming for a very long time now, and I'm really excited to bring it to life. Without further ado, let's get into all of the things I want to talk about. These are things that came into my collection in the last month-ish, some before that. So let's talk about some books first. I have not read these yet, but I'm very, very excited to read them. These are from the Pagan Portal series. These books tend to be very, very, very thin. These books are, both of the ones that I got are, let me give you a page count, 79 pages each. Very digestible, but I got the Morgan, Meeting the Great Queens, and Raven Goddess, Going Deeper with the Morgan, both by Morgan Daimler. I thought these would be really great introductions to the Morgan. A little backstory. The reason I have some of the books that I'm about to show you is because in my channel membership, we were recently doing a deck study with the Witch Sister Tarot by Julia Jeffrey. And this has a lot of references to Celtic mythology, specifically a lot to mythologies that were well-known and celebrated within Scotland, but also, of course, Ireland as well. Celtic folklore. I'm a little discombobulated for this video, but yes, this is why I accumulated a bunch of these books that I have not had a chance to read, but I'm very excited to get into. These especially because all the books I've seen in the Morgan, other than these, have been like tomes. And while I definitely want to get to know the Morgan a little bit better, I was not prepared for a tome. So these feel digestible and I'm really excited to get into these. So I picked these up. I think I actually got these in late March, early April. So I just thought I'd show them because I had them in a stack next to me. I also picked up The Spirit of the Celtic Gods and Goddesses. This is by Carl McColman and Catherine Hinds. This is actually a republication of a book by another name. I can't remember the other name that the book goes by, but I wonder if it says in the title page. It does not. This edition is published by Wiser Books, and this is a 2020 printing. But what I like about this is that it has got information about the Celtic pantheon, including some of the heroes. So, for example, we have goddesses and heroines, gods and heroes, and then goddesses and gods in our lives. But it covers a lot of the common Celtic referenced gods, goddesses, heroes, heroines. So we have, for example, Anu, I'm going to slaughter all these names. Anu and the River Goddess, Bridget, Morgan, Rhiannon, Caradwyn, Arianrod, and then we also have Manannan and Menawidin, Lu and Lu, Gwydion, Bran, Taliesin. So you get quite a breadth of information in here, which is really great. I wanted something that could be a good, just kind of general reference for Celtic pantheon stuff. And I have, you wouldn't know it by this video because I'm discombobulated, but I have read the Mabinogion, which is Welsh and does cover a lot of these same characters, but I wanted something that was a little bit easier to read and reference. And so that is why I picked this up. There's a lot of the characters in here are referenced throughout the Witch Sister Tarot, and I'm real excited about getting into this as well, but also just having it for my library. And then this was the big purchase as far as Celtic. I shouldn't say Celtic. I should say Scottish references specifically. So this book is called The Visions of Isobel Gowdie, Magic, Witchcraft, and Dark Shamanism in 17th Century Scotland. Now, this is a very specific book that I wanted to pick up and have wanted for a long time. This book was specifically recommended to me by Julia Jeffrey a long time ago. I can't remember when. I looked it up and thought it was out of print because the price when you look this book up is insane. However, it's not out of print as far as I can tell, or at least I was able to purchase a new copy. It is, however, a really expensive book. I think this was $60+. It's soft cover, but it is, as I understand it, the definitive book, or one of the most well-respected books about Isobel Gowdie. Now, Isobel Gowdie was one of the witches who confessed, or was a confessed witch in the witch trials from Scotland. And as I understand it, and I have so much more to read about her, but as I understand her story a little bit, she has one of the most comprehensive and detailed testimonies that were recorded. So we can get a lot of information about what was going on, how practices may or may not have looked, understanding that it needs to be viewed through the lens of a forced confession, right? So, sorry, I thought something was going on with my dog, but she's fine. She's just looking for a place to lay down. Anyway, so this is essentially, I guess the only way I know how to describe this is like a textbook all about Isobel Gowdie, her interrogation, her confession, and I'm assuming branch off theories from there based on what we can ascertain about what witchcraft practices may have looked like at that time. So sort of some, theorizing based on what she had to say during her confessional. But as you can see, it's a very, very dense book. It is something that I don't expect to sit down and read, but it is one of those things that I would really like to sit down and spend some time with and familiarize myself with, specifically because I think there's a lot of really, really rich information in here. I've heard really good things about this book. It was on my list, and because Isobel Gowdie is referenced several times in the Witch Sister Tarot, it felt like the right excuse to finally purchase this. I also purchased several books that I got for my Kindle based on Julia Jeffrey's recommendations. A lot of those are actually in the public domain. You can find them on sacred texts, etc. But I found inexpensive, decent versions of them as Kindle forms. So I picked those up as well, but I'm not going to go through that whole list with you. Just be aware that there are tons of really, really great references, but I'm very, very excited to have this. And if you have been curious about this title and like me thought it was out of print, I would recommend doing some Googling, look for a bookshop that carries it, because there are bookshops that carry it for sure. New. So this is not a secondhand book at all. And as far as I can tell, it's still print. In fact, I can actually tell you the printing for this is listed as, okay, so this actually does say 2013 printing, right? First published 2010, reprinted with correction in paperback 2011 and 2013 in Great Britain by Sussex Academic Press. So it may, don't quote me on it still being print, I guess. I was able to find a new copy by doing some hunting. So I think you can still get your hands on it. It just might not be the kind of thing you can just swoop into Amazon or your local bookstore and find on the shelf. You may have to do a little bit of digging if this is something that interests you. But the book that I am so excited about, that feels like this was a treat for me. This was something that I got because it's been a stressful couple of weeks at the time I'm filming this. I'm working on things that are related to my deck. I had some hiccups that I was working my way through that I think have been sorted now, but it was very, very stressful for a good couple of weeks there. And when it all sort of seemed like it was sort of taken care of, I treated myself to this. This is the Wheel of the Year, an illustrated guide to nature's rhythms by Fiona Cook, and illustrated, as I understand it, by Jessica Rue. I don't know if she also contributed to the authorship of this, I believe. But you guys. Okay, so Jessica Rue is the creator of the Woodland Wardens deck. And the Woodland Wardens is such a beautiful, beautiful deck. And Jessica Rue's illustrations they're just wonderful. This is Jessica Rue. This is the Woodland Wardens deck. I was really enchanted by the idea of this book. And the funny thing is, what tipped me over the edge to want to purchase it was, there's two things actually that tipped me over the edge. But the thing that really sort of sealed the deal for me is there was a sample page on Amazon. And on that sample page, there was a reference to, it was talking about nature and what is nature. And it specifically was referencing, kind of calling out, I think, on the idea that nature must be this thing that you go travel to if you live in the city. And it immediately made me feel like this book could actually potentially speak to me. I don't live in an area where I've got lots of parks and things like that are obviously within range, as you could say. But I don't have a lot of wild spaces that I can easily access, or that in my lifestyle makes sense to access. And so sometimes I feel kind of shut out in a way of practices that call to me. And it just kind of made me feel seen in that moment. But this just looks honestly like a beautiful book. The other tipping point for me with this, let's see what it says here about, no, copyright is to both. It's to both. So I think they must have co-wrote this. Yeah, I think they must have co-wrote this. But like, look at the contents. Let's be safe. Magic is real. And then we have a section for each of the Sabbats. This is the other thing that really called to me. For a long time, I had been thinking about picking up all of the Llewellyn books on the Sabbats, the little individual books. And I was like right on the cusp of maybe finally taking the plunge on that when this book came out. And then I was like, wait, this is perfect. It's one beautiful book, illustrated, really gorgeous, that can kind of act like a bit of a grimoire of sorts. It's the illustrations that got me. It's absolutely gorgeous. We cover the Wheel of the Year. There's information here. There's activities here. So for example, let's take a look at one of the Sabbats. Let's look at Lunasa. Okay, so here is the Lunasa section. So you have, and I thought this was such a thoughtful touch, you have the Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere dates. I appreciate this so much because it's very, very easy as someone who's always lived in the Northern Hemisphere, has never even visited the Southern Hemisphere, to forget that different parts of the year are experiencing the Sabbats at different times. And this is such a lovely reference, even just to have that so readily available there. So then we get Rhythm of the Wheel, we get Spirit of the Season, Celebrations Past and Present. We have different holidays that may show up during that time. There's a scavenger hunt here, stars, all kinds of themes here. There's altar ideas. We have recipes. So here's a lemon balm tincture, a red cabbage ink. None of these seemed, from what I had glanced at so far, make your own feather quill. None of these seemed out of reach or too overly complicated. This looks like it's got some information on sigils, which is amazing. Making pretzels. And then we get into Maven, ritual bath. But there's lots of activities, exercises, and information about the Sabbat, but it feels like it's drawing me in. It feels like an experience. And like I said, it can serve as a bit of a grimoire. And this is something that I've realized for myself over time, is that it looks like there's a scavenger hunt for every Sabbat. That's really exciting. I really like books that can serve as they can serve as a piece of my sort of grimoire. For example, Scott Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs is my herb grimoire. I'm not going to create a whole separate grimoire about herbs when I have that book. And so I add notes to it, or I tuck in pages, loose pages from other things that I gather, and it becomes its own sort of grimoire. This can be my seasonal grimoire. I feel like that's a lot of time talking about books. So we're going to get into decks, but I just really wanted to share this specifically. Let's chat briefly about this aurelian sequence. Now, I made an entire video about this, giving some of my overall thoughts, and I definitely encourage you to check that out if this is something that you were curious about, but that you maybe didn't back, but you want to keep an eye out or get some more thoughts before you decide to take the plunge in the future. But I have to tell you, this was such an experience and way outside of my aesthetic. I'm going to try not to babble on for too long. I'm just going to say that I'm very, very excited about this. So this is a, what do you call it? It says on the box, advanced copy. This is an advanced copy that was sent to me by James R. Eads to take a look at. And oh my gosh, can I tell you, like the final version of this deck, I believe, is going to have very slightly rounded corners just to protect them. This is a little bitey. I am tempted to corner round it, but I haven't yet because it's colored edges. So if I corner round this copy, I'll have little light spots where I corner round it. And that breaks my brain a little. I am also thinking of writing on these cards. I have some fountain pen ink I'm thinking about using. I've inked up a pen specifically with a color I think might go nicely. And I'm going to maybe do some experimenting in the guidebook and then consider doing some writing. I'm not going to go on and on about this, besides to say that this is nothing that fits my normal aesthetic. I would not have backed this. I'll be completely honest, if I had not received an advanced copy, because I looked at this and was like, that's cool. James does cool stuff. But like, I don't think this is going to be for me. It's limited color palette, by which I mean it's literally monochromatic. It's just blue instead of black and white. And it's numbers, and there's nothing about this that was like, oh yes, this is for me for sure. But oh my gosh, when I got this in and I started looking at the guidebook and exploring the hidden language in here and translating things and just kind of digging into the layers and playing with it, I had the best time. The guidebook that comes in this, again, I'm not going to belabor, but I'm just going to show. It's literally like a sketchbook. I have to find a spot that I can actually go into it where I haven't. Okay, so I have it written here. It's literally like you're inside of James's sketchbook. It invites play. It invites organic thought. It invites writing. And the kind of the chaos of it definitely makes such an interesting balance with the sort of concrete nature of numbers, or the way that we can feel that numbers are very concrete. This feels like it just definitely draws you in a really, really cool way. I don't know what the long-term practical application of this deck is in my practice yet. I'm going to be completely honest, but can I tell you that the hours and hours and hours of quality time that I have spent with this so far and the enjoyment I have had out of that experience and the meaning I found in that experience has already made this a worthwhile product, I guess, for me, I will say. And I'm thinking it might end up playing into, in the future, some dice divination things that I'm working on with Dawn. We'll see. We are working together on some dice divination stuff. So you may see this showing up in the future on my channel in that way. I'm not sure yet, but I am really excited about it. Anyway, the Aurelian sequence is a deck that I'm really, really excited to have in my collection now, and we shall see how it plays out over the long term, but I've had such a cool experience with it so far, so I just really wanted to share that. Also, there's surprises, and not very many things can surprise me, so this had some really cool surprises in it that made me really happy. That's where I'm going to leave that. Okay, I have so many cool things to talk about. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have to talk about this. I have Dawn Michelle's other little pocket deck. Where is it? It's in my little basket here next to me. Ah, there it is. The Sacred Threads Oracle. Hold on. I really like these little pocket-sized or poker-sized decks. So I've had this one, the Sacred Threads Oracle of Dawn Michelle's, for some time now. And by the way, this makes an incredible pairing with the Unicorn's Journey Tarot. But I love this one. I love the size of it. It's so lovely, and it really pairs with a lot of things. It shuffles beautifully because, of course, it's that lovely linen cardstock, has some good resistance. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. I've already had this, but I also picked up Dawn's Finders Keepers Pocket Oracle Volume 1. Now, there is I think the plan is to have more volumes in the future. I'm not sure what the timeline is on that, but I do know that this collage deck this is all done by hand, all this like paper collage, this feels like Dawn's energy to me in a different way. And I just really like the messages. I really like the key phrases. This decay card is awesome. So I love this one. Find yourself, grow, bloom from the inside. I just think this is cool. I just think it's cool, and I wanted it in my collection. So I also now have, finally, a copy of Krista Chronicles Cottage Witch Oracle. Yo, I am so excited to have this. So first of all, Krista sent me the deck, which was super, super sweet of her. I had reached out because I was getting ready to purchase it, but I wanted like all of the expansions. So she sent me, actually, she very sweetly gifted me the original Cottage Witch Oracle. Here's the thing that happened to me with this deck. When Krista came out with this deck, I thought that this was, I don't know why I thought this. I don't know how I missed the information. I'll chalk it up to a scatterbrain moment, but I thought that her Oracle deck had the creatures or the object on the card and then just the name of it. I did not realize that there were keywords, and then I got really excited. So I wanted to pick this up. So she sent me the base deck, and then I went and purchased all the expansions. So I'm going to show those in a minute. But if you haven't seen this was created by Krista of Krista Chronicles here in our community. I love that there is both a cat and a dog familiar card. That's amazing. I just think this is a really sweet deck. I feel like it's really keyed into nature, and it feels cozy, and it just makes me happy. I think this is the kind of thing that will also match well with a lot of things in my collection, so I'm excited to play with it for sure. But seeing that it had keywords, it just made me feel like it was kind of like a Oracle of Oddities style deck in my collection. So I don't remember what each of these expansions are called, but I think one of them is called like In the Garden, and I can't remember what the other one is called. This one has a lot of I think this is the In the Garden one. There's a lot of flowers, there's some strawberries and raspberries and insects, apples, just things you might find maybe in the garden, literally. So I'm going to shuffle those into my base deck. Let's see how thick that makes it. I'm just going to shuffle it like Pagan. Yeah, that's good. And then there's also this other expansion. So this has Barn Swallow, Bergamot, Bluebell, Bobcat, Bones, Catnip, Chamomile. I kind of want to see if I can still shuffle it if I put all of these in. Oh, we getting beefy now. I don't know how many cards this is, y'all. I'm really bad at that. Totally still doable as a shuffle, which is exciting. And I love having decks like this just to help me connect with natural energies when I'm not necessarily feeling it. This reminds me actually a lot of the Song of the Grandmother's Oracle in the sense that it's not just plants, it's not just herbs, it's not just animals, it's not just flowers, it's not just objects, it's got a little of everything, which totally speaks to me. And then, of course, I also picked up the winter expansion, the holiday expansion. So we have Gingerbread Man, Candy Cane, Pomegranate, Santa Claus, Jacob Marley, Present, Garlic, Jam, Jack Frost, Sleigh, Wreath, Bell, Christmas Tree, Gloves, Krampus, Snowman, Hearth, Hot Chocolate, Poinsettia, Cranberry, and then we're back to Gingerbread Man. I am thinking of actually putting this little expansion in with my Winter Weight Santa's Helper so that when I'm pulling that deck out, I remember to also work with this. There's enough cards that I could literally just work with this alongside that deck, or I could mix it into my Cottage Witch and just use it like that. But I need to get a bag for this because look at how lovely and amazing. I love that all the backs match. I love that the fronts have this like mix of darker and lighter sepia tone. It really, for starters, makes it kind of easy to pull out the expansions if you decide you want to. Like the lighter color came from an expansion, right? So you can pull out the expansions and go back to the base deck if you'd like. But I like how that looks when you fan it out. Isn't that neat? Anyway, okay, gushing aside. And then she also sent me a copy of her little guidebook, which is awesome. So excited to kind of dig into this and read. I believe this covers the base deck, which would make sense. I don't know that it covers any of the expansion cards, but I feel like this is the kind of deck, though, that I would pull out and just work with the keywords, right? Deceit, ritual, attract, mystery, decay. I like that it's not asking me to know why all of these creatures or objects symbolize their keyword. It's just giving that to me anyways. Anyway, really excited about that. So happy to finally have this in my collection. I love the mushroom back, by the way. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Okay. I finally bit the bullet and picked up the Osho Zen Tarot Pocket Edition. Let me grab my original Osho Zen because I think what I'm going to do is actually replace my original Osho Zen with this copy, essentially. So this is my original Osho Zen. I hand cut, trimmed it with scissors. And partly that was because this copy was so beat up. This was my only tarot deck that I used for others for literally years. I love it. It is a deck I know frontward and backward and sideways. And I did a really deep dive on this deck that is still, I think, my most viewed video on YouTube. I have a deep love for this deck in general. I know it. It knows me. It feels like home. But when I hand trimmed this, it cleaned it up nicely. Like I also edged the cards in black. That was great. It made the deck feel like new again. And in a way, that wasn't great because then I couldn't riffle shuffle it properly because it's hand scissor cut. So if you know anything about hand scissor cutting, you get like quite a bit of clumping. You can see the air going through, like you can see my table through. It doesn't shuffle great. And so this ended up kind of getting tabled. Now I have a full-size version of this deck that's kind of up in storage. So I do have a backup full-size that has not been trimmed that I picked up secondhand. But when I saw this little pocket came out, I was like, given that I tend to like to use this deck for big spreads, I thought the pocket would actually be really great. The backs are kind of a different color, which I don't love. Like, let me just show you. So the pocket backs are a little bit darker. But once I saw that it was only a tiny bit smaller than the one that I hand cut, I was like, this is actually a really nice size for this deck. And actually, let's just take a look at Dawn's Finder's Keeper as a size reference, because I think these are pretty similar. Yeah, these are the same size. So this is basically like a playing card size deck, which is a really, really convenient size for decks to work with. And because I really, really like I said, the Osho Zen for bigger spreads, something I can pull out and do just about any kind of reading on, the cardstock feels good. It doesn't feel any higher or lower quality than the original. I would say it's thinner. Yeah, it's just a touch thinner than I would say than the original was. But I wanted a copy that I could just sling around. But I also wanted a copy that would fit in this special bag that Peggy made me for my Osho Zen, my trimmed copy of Osho Zen a long time ago. It's got this really sweet, like, ladybug. This reminds me of ladybug inside and a really thick kind of velvet outside. And I thought, and I haven't tested it yet, that this would actually fit. And it does with its guidebook in my little bag. What's great about this little guidebook, too, is that it seems to be complete. Like, the bits are in here. It's just missing the images. And it's formatted to be a little bit closer together, the text. But it's readable, and it has all the information that I would want. And there's a whole story I have with the original Osho Zen guidebook, but I'll save that for another day. Anyway, this is really great. I'm happy to have it, and I love that it fits in my original little bag. So I'm going to probably retire my original copy into storage along with that full-size untrimmed version. I'm probably going to go ahead and retire this hand-trimmed one into storage and pull this back into my rotation it just makes, it feels good to have one that's really usable back in my sort of grasp. So I picked that up. I also picked up the Seasons of the Witch Litho Oracle. I am obviously collecting all the decks from this series. I'm really excited about this one. I tend to work with them in this way. So I look at the Sabbat as the beginning of a chunk of time, like a pie slice out of the wheel of the year. That's typically how I work with the Sabbats. So for me, Litho would kick off the period of time in which I would be in this energy and would be using this deck. So I'm still working currently with the Beltane deck, but this I will swap to once we hit the summer solstice. This is so beautiful. The backs are purple. It's gorgeous purple edging, and it stays true to the rest of the series. And I took a little glance at this already. It just looks beautiful. I love the themes covered here. I love how summery it feels. That's one thing I feel like this series has done really well, is it definitely, in a folk magic-y kind of way, seems to draw you in. She's holding a unicorn skull. That makes me really happy. Anyways, I like that the decks have so far felt like their season. Energetically, they felt like their season. I think they've done that very, very, very well. So I'm excited to add this to my set. I can't wait until we have the last two. I believe we're waiting on Lunasa, and I always forget which two we're waiting on, so I'm not going to guess, but I'm happy to have this in my collection. So excited to have brought it in. Put this over to this side. I'm just building little towers next to me of all the things. Okay, I have a confession. So I picked up the Mystic Palette Color Edition. And the reason this is a confession is because I also picked up a while back the Mystic Palette Sepia Tone Edition, and I still cannot decide which one I like better, but I think it's going to be the color copy. So I just want to talk about it for a minute. So this the matte version just or not the matte, this is matte, but the matte sepia tone version comes in like a little one of these boxes, lightweight boxes. Nothing, that's it, just cards. I don't think there was even a little white book, just the deck. But then the full size, or not the full size, the color version comes with a guidebook written by Lee Burston, which is fairly compact, all things considered. There's some expanded pages to get you into each suit. There's bigger entries for the majors, but it's formatted in a more compact kind of way. But then here are these are glossy. So this is my thing, right? I literally don't know which one I like better, or if I just freaking like them both. I literally can't decide. This cardstock, these cards are giant. So here is, do I have a standard? Yeah, here's the Cottage Witch card, just to show you. So this is the Cottage Witch, which is a standard tarot size. And that is the size of these decks. Yeah, even look at that. Okay, so sorry, the vibrancy of the backs is different. So this is the sepia edition, and this is the full color. I have to say that for Chiro decks, I really, really love these. I am drawn to the shinier one. I'm drawn to them both. And it's so funny. I thought having them in my hands, I'd have a clear preference. And partly I do because I just freaking love vibrant color, and Chiro does vibrant color very, very well. But the sepia tone deck just feels ancient and kind of special. I can't decide still. So I don't know what this says about me. I'm not sure what to do about that, because I mean, these aren't even the same cards I'm showing side by side, but you can kind of get an idea for the difference. The cardstock on these is, I'm not sure how to describe it. It's probably the exact same cardstock we're used to from Llewellyn. It's got bend, shuffles really nicely, but when you pick it up, it feels like it's papery and kind of floppy, but it's not. Like when you shuffle it, it's got resistance. It shuffles nicely. And honestly, because it's a big deck, if it was not bendy like this, I don't think it would be usable. Like, I'm not sure. I think the indie version is not quite this big, but it really showcases Chiro's art, makes it stand out in a really cool way. Like here is this the Wheel of Fortune? Yeah, this is the Wheel of Fortune. And like, look at, the hands are holding Marseille cards there, which is so freaking cool. Yeah, like holding them in my hands, I feel as though, gosh, I really like them both. Like, look at this Six of Cups. There's a lot of astrology too in these decks. They're very uncluttered by long wordy titles. Like the titles are on here. Yeah, here's the Wheel of Fortune. Didn't we just have that card? Let's just compare these directly if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. So here is two exact cards side by side. So comment down below. Which is your preference? Why? Obviously this one is matte and this one is glossy, because now that I have them, when I had just this one, I was like, oh, I bet I prefer the glossy. But now that I have the glossy, gosh, I really love these rich colors. I really do. Oh, look at this Knight of Water or Knight of Cups. It's so beautiful. And then if I were to find a Cups card in here, I mean, this is the 5 of Cups, but still, it's so like, it's a mood. I don't know. I'm still clearly on the fence, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, obviously I can keep them both. I very likely will keep them both. But now I'm like, in what circumstance will I be reaching for these? I don't know yet. But they were really beautiful, and I had to have them. And I've been obsessed like this about which one do I like better, even while they were available. I think they might still be available, the indie versions. Obsessed. And the reason I hadn't bought the indie version is because I couldn't decide which one. So I figured at least if it's mass market, it's more affordable for me to be indecisive. And true, it is more affordable for me to be indecisive. The problem is I'm still indecisive. I can't figure it out. I don't know. I would love to find a way to, I don't know, to somehow do something cool with these, but I don't know what. I just had to have them. Magpie moment. Okay. That's just how it is sometimes. Oh my gosh. I got in the Faces and Forests Oracle deck by Kat Riles. So Kat is the creator of the Roots and Wings Oracle, which is, I think, a favorite in our community and is really special. And I have to admit that because I love this deck so much, I backed Faces and Forests. Roots and Wings, Faces and Forests. What a cool combination. Anyways, these are both Oracle decks, but this matches so many things and it's such a workhorse for me. I love, love, love this deck so much. But the thing is, I backed this because I love this so much. And sometimes that's a gamble. A lot of times, let me back up. That's always a gamble. It's always a gamble to pick something up because you like something else by the same creator, because I've found that often liking one thing doesn't mean you automatically like the other. However, when I look at how the box looks like wood and she signed them and it's like a whole thing. Anyways, when I saw this on Kickstarter, I wasn't sure how this was going to fit into my practice. Was I going to use it? How much was I going to use it? All the things. And there's so many little goodies in the box, including this really lovely wooden coin that you can flip that I'm going to throw apparently. I'll just put that right there. Anyway, and then I got the cards out and I don't know why. I must have forgotten this. Look at the beautiful moon faces on the back. But this deck has a keyword, beautiful artwork, of course, a keyword, and then a really lovely question that can serve as a journal prompt, which means this would be, when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, this would make such an incredible, and look at me getting stuff out of order, because what if y'all want a full walkthrough? Anyways, this made me realize that this would make a really good journaling deck, specifically delicate. Have you been gentle with your emotions, or are you being too hard on yourself? Giving and receiving. Do you feel like you are in a season of giving or receiving? Why? Navigating. How are you finding your way in the current and flow of life? Observe. Can you think of areas in your life where you need to be more observant? And so on. And so it feels like a very interactive deck that really, it invites inquiry. It feels like a reflective deck. Look at these like chocolate brown, sparkly edges. Love that. And then the little thing inside is really, I think, more about, it's got a little blurb actually for each card. Interesting. So it's just a really simple little staple bound pamphlet kind of situation. I was here for the cards, to be completely honest. And I am so impressed by this. Like I said, I bought it because I was a fan of Kat's other work. And I must have just blitzed. Maybe I didn't realize there was going to be these journal prompts or inquiries right on the cards, but I freaking love it. And I think this is going to make a really beautiful practice for me. I'm thinking of actually leaving this out on my table and sitting here. I actually have a distraction-free writing device, and I might actually just sit and journal with these. That is one of the things I'm thinking. I want to keep all the stickers and stuff in here for now. She's got some really cute little, these are really, really super thin, like almost like washi stickers. There's a sample card from Roots and Wings, and then there's another, is this a sticker? This is just a little note, I think. Yeah, this is just a little note. Her little business card. I don't know, just like, again, magpie moment. I just like all the things. But I'm thinking this would be a really good, like, just self-reflection practice all by itself, something separate from the other things that I do with my cards. This was a Kickstarter that came in. This is also a Kickstarter that came in, the Tarot Emblemata. Look at these cool stickers that came with the deck. A safe refuge. I love this. It feels like a sigil, like a protection sigil, and I love it. Gotta find something cool to do with those. Okay, the Terra Emblemata is a deck that I had been very, very, very excited about. This is by Urania Press, and it feels to me like it's got a seal, so, and I haven't been into this yet. First edition. Okay. Can I do this without ripping it? I need a knife. My favorite way, let me just get out my Athame. This is how I roll, y'all. I just feel like if I can lever it up, it's better. I have not looked at these cards at all, and thank goodness they're not sealed in here, because that would have been annoying. I would have had to go get scissors. Okay, let's pull these out. Oh, hey. That's hilarious. It's like they knew, because look, it's coming out upright from the bottom. That's kind of funny. I bet they know that a lot of people don't like to break these little seals. Anyway, this is a tarot, but it is it's just really cool. This is what the backings look like. I was sucked into this when I saw this on Kickstarter because there are these Latin sayings that are translated. I believe it's Latin. Please don't make me look dumb here, deck. This better be Latin. Anyways, I was really drawn to the style of this. So we have fortune favors the bold for the fool, master skills through great labor and diligence for the magician, and so on. When I saw these sayings on the cards and these particular illustrations on the cards, when I looked at the Kickstarter, to me, it felt like a really cool, really intuitive deck. So that sticker we got is actually the 10 of Cups. Oh, I love this. This is one of the ones I saw, actually, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's the 9 of Cups. Hello, focus. There we go. Where it says, and so she drank, there we go. And so she drank her fill. And so she drank her fill. The rainbow brings serenity. So the story with this deck, because I am not speaking intelligently about it at all. The story with this deck is that it is comprised of Renaissance emblems from the 16th century, curated from the French writer and historian Claude Perrodin's emblem book, De Visis Heroicus. Y'all, I'm so sorry for the pronunciation. First published in 1551 in Lyons, France, and printed by Jean de Tournai, I'm not sure, with woodcut illustrations attributed to Bernard Solomon. The emblems have been digitally optimized, designed, and interpreted for tarot symbolism and archetypes by Nastasia Roland, the creator of this deck. Okay, keywords and phrases written in the tradition of Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. For expansive emblem interpretation, see the 188-page companion guidebook. They're not meant to be gender specific, so there's a talk about that. So, to me, the way that I view this deck is as a way to sort of tap into the energy. Yes, Fortune 2 for the 4 of Wands. Nature is wonderful in her works for the Queen of Wands. Ready for both, the 2 of Swords. Loss, grief, and despair for the 9 of Swords. Till they replenish and build the whole world, the 3 of Pentacles. Unmeasurable bountifulness and liberality, the 9 of Pentacles. Wisdom is of great force than destiny. There's some extra cards. So we have Interwoven, Good Company, Chimera, Daemon, Ancestors, Libations, Malefic and Benefic, Sovereignty, Regeneration, and Caduceus. So it sounds like there is a full-length digital guidebook. This was just really cool. This was something I got because it was cool. Where is the Sun card, or excuse me, the Star card? Brightness that cannot be harmed. Whom it happens onto if it shall fall. The Tower. Interesting. Hanged Man. I resolve all doubts by self-reflection. The Lovers, Together and Forever. I remember when I first saw this on Kickstarter, I looked up the emblem, the Book of Emblems. Is that what it's called again? Emblem book. Claude Perrodin's emblem book. I looked it up and was looking at a bunch of information about it, and I found it really, really fascinating. So I'm excited to play with this and see. I also think this could be a really cool intuitive deck, and I think it could function as a tarot, but I also think it could function potentially as a really cool oracle. There we go. Tuck boxes and me, we don't always get along. Anyway, that is the Tarot Emblemata. This was a Kickstarter that I backed. Oh, I found a pin. What does that go with? I think this probably went with the Tarot Emblemata. It's like a little dragon guy. This one was a Dawn Michelle made me do it, and I'm so glad. Dawn was talking about the Dreamgate Oracle on one of her videos. It may have been a member video or it may have been a public video. I can't remember. In any case, this is a mass market deck by Danielle Noel. It's published by RP Studio. And I had to. I have no excuse for myself. I just had to. It comes in a magnetic box. I dream, I imagine, I create. It's got a really nice, chunky, stitch-bound guidebook by Danielle Noel. And then the cards themselves come in, of course, a tuck box. But, geez, do I have to get the knife again? Okay. See if I can do this without slicing anything. Okay. All right. I think that's the last time I should need that. Here's what excited me about this. It's all portals. It's called the Dreamgate Oracle. To me, it's all doorways. It's all portals. Look at this golden beautifulness on the back. And I really want to see what this looks like next to my Shadow Moonchild. So I'm going to pull that out so that I can check that out in a second. But what got me excited about this is that a lot of times Danielle Noel's Oracle decks can end up feeling hard for me to wrap my brain around because she uses a lot of language that sometimes makes me feel disconnected from the deck, like Akashic. Not that I have any issue with that word. It starts to feel a little bit ungrounded sometimes. And this deck, what I loved about it when I saw it on Dawn's channel is that you get these phrases, which sometimes, like I said, make me feel a little ungrounded or a little disconnected. But then there's these keywords underneath, which draw me right back in and give me that grounding element, that sort of concrete element to sort of hold on to. So for example, here we have believing is seeing, imagination, beyond the veil, and inner child. Between worlds. Look at how beautiful this artwork is, by the way. Between worlds, twilight dream, revelations, and etheric bridge. Celestial temple. So just that, I'd been like, okay, it's a celestial temple. Cool. I think this is the fact that I have a very literal brain. And sometimes when I see stuff like that, I'm like, okay, so cool. Celestial temple. What do I do with that? Well, this is dream incubation, cosmic downloads, and divine truths. Oh, divine truths. Oh, okay. That's what the card's trying to talk to me about. And it just gives me a way to work with the deck. I'm actually super stoked about this because I feel like it's going to work really well for me. And I have been wanting a Danielle Noel Oracle that would pair really well with Shadow Moonchild. So let's just see. Let's just see if this can be the one. Now, I do have my original Moonchild as well, but I really like the Shadow Edition. Oh, I think it's going to work, you guys. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, wait. I thought when I saw this that it might work really well with either version of the Moonchild Tarot, either the original warmer toned version or this sort of dusty, purpley, lavendery version. And it does. I was wondering with this color, it's almost like this is a neutral tone, it feels like. And because she went neutral, I feel like it can go with the golden deck, the original, or it can go with the shadow. And I'm right. And I'm so excited. Look how cool these look together. Okay, I get it's not only aesthetic, but I really enjoy the Moonchild, and sometimes the fact that I don't have an oracle to go with it has made me hesitate to use it as much as I might like to. And I know that sounds silly, but I do like to work with the two together a lot of the time in my personal practice, and these look great together. I didn't even flip more of these. That's okay. I was looking really at the banners, and that may sound superficial, but you can see the tone. Let me just show you up close. You can see the tone of these banners are complementary colors, or they work. And the tones of this don't pull us out of the world. Look at this even. Inner Eye and Six of Cups. Look at how good that looks. Oh, yeah. I'm excited. Yeah, I think I tried to pair this with the Ocean Dreams Oracle. In fact, let me just show you an example so you can see. I'm going to put this to one side like this. Okay, let me just stick our Knight of Pentacles on top. So this is the Dreamgate Oracle here. And I actually have the Ocean Dreams next to me because I was working with it in May a bunch. So do you see how, I mean, they both work art-wise, like art style-wise. They're obviously very compatible, but you can really see, I think, how much better this seems to work, right? Do you see what I mean? Like, I feel like these two are made to go together. Whereas the Ocean Dreams, I really enjoy using it kind of by itself. This, I would have loved if it had this 3 keyword system on it. I think this really enhances the usability of the deck. If I had the 3 keyword system with Ocean Dreams, oh man, that would be my perfect situation. I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about it. And it's more than just the aesthetics. I know I keep saying that and then I keep talking about the aesthetics, but let me show you what I mean. So let me put my Moonchild Tarot away. Okay, so here's what excited me about this also, is that the guidebook is really, really good. So here we have moon casting. So let's go to moon casting. It's all alphabetical. We'd love to see it. Moon casting. So you get the same keywords that are on the cards. We have cultivation, dream work, and magic. Cultivation, dream work, magic. We also get serenity, manifestation, and natural rhythms. Then you get some affirmations. I'm always regulating more harmony. I'm connecting with my natural rhythms. Then there's a little sort of synopsis. There's more information about the card. There's a message. And then there are 2 questions. And this is one of the things I love about the Shadow Moonchild or the Moonchild Tarot in general, is that there's questions that can serve as journal prompts. And based on what I shared with you about my excitement over Phases in Forests by Kat Riles, I really like decks that invite inquiry like that have questions or journal prompts. It's really exciting when I feel like when decks do that, it gives us something to sort of branch off with. And so this is a really chunky little book. I think it's going to make this deck have so much more potential or a use case in my collection because of that. So real excited about it. I don't know if this is something that I'm going to bag up and like hang on my wall. I'm gonna have to, because I'm gonna want to hang it with Moonchild, but this book is so chunky, so I kind of like, for now I'm gonna keep it in its little box set here until I sort of decide how I want to store it. But I'm very excited about it. Okay, I'm gonna add it to my tower, which is kind of like Jenga over here in the back. You can't see it, but like it's so close to falling down. And that brings me to my final purchase. This has been sitting on my want to buy list for at least a year. The Silver Acorn Tarot. When did this even come out? When did this come out? So we have a beautiful little print that was in there with it. It was on the outside, but does it say in the guidebook? Hold on. This is still the first edition that I got. 2022 is the copyright. I have not dug into the guidebook much, but I will say the guidebook for this deck, before I get into the cards, the guidebook is like an impossibly small font. It's quite small even on the card description pages, and there's a lot of blank space. I'm not sure what happened there. It's real tiny. It's almost like it was meant to be in a smaller size and then was sized up for a bigger form factor. I don't know what happened, but man, some of those words, and I think part of it is that a couple of the entries do go quite long, so they needed maybe the extra space, but oh my gosh, it's so tiny. Anyway, this section over here is important symbols. So for example, on this devil card, it'll say what the cat stands for, feathers. Y'all, I am wearing my glasses actually, and this is still tough. Moths, ribbon, cushion, inverted torch, Capricorn, etc. So there's all this information tells you. In the majors, you have that. And then in the minors, you have these like single paragraph kind of write-ups. I don't think this is a deck I'm going to be leaning hard into the guidebook for, but it is really cool that that information is there. But oh my gosh, y'all, the quality of this deck is so lovely. Comes in a magnetic box. I'm going to show you the size because the size is quite big. So this is what we've got going on here. So here is the Cottage Witch deck. It's quite a bit taller, the Silver Acorn. Actually, it makes me wonder how it sizes next to that Chiro Marchetti. Let me get into my Jenga here. I think these are actually about the same size. Let's just see. Oh no, the Chiro deck is still bigger and wider, it looks like. So this is I thought these cards were actually bigger than they are, and so I'm really excited about this size. They are bigger than tarot, tarot size, quite a bit longer actually, but it's on a really lovely linen flexi cardstock. I would say this is also 310 GSM. I think it says right on the website, but this is such a sweet, sweet deck. I definitely am excited to pull this out in the fall time. Not necessarily specifically like Halloween, although it does have Halloween vibes, but just generally in the fall. I think this is going to be just such a delightful deck to work with. The whimsical art style is everything. It is very much like a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, but it's so sweet. I love the characters so much. The majors are great. The minors are fabulous. In fact, we still have 3 swords and a heart for the 3. But again, this is very much a Rider-Waite-Smith clone situation. The swords are bats. The queen and king are rather, so they are upside down, which is just fabulous. I love it. And I love the cup suit a lot. I love this art style. It's fantastic. So I'm really excited to read with this. I think this is going to be just a really fun, whimsical deck to play with. And I am so glad I finally took the plunge and scooped it up. Can we talk about how in the Pentacle suit, the characters are all different, like vegetables? So we have a pumpkin, we have a beet, we have a carrot, we have a carrot and a turnip, corn, onion. I forget. I think that's another pumpkin. Strawberry. The strawberry is so like out of place, but makes so much sense in this particular card. And then we have pumpkin farm again. It's great. It's fantastic. So I'm really excited about this. I'm so glad I scooped it up. So let's just pull out all the goodies, shall we? I don't know if they'll all fit in this space because there's so many. Okay, so not including books, this is everything we've gone over today. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you're new to these videos, something that I encourage is if you would like to see a deeper dive, a deeper look, more chit chat about any of the decks you see or have seen in this video. If you want to see a full walkthrough or explore them in more detail or some kind of playtime with them, let me know in the comments down below, and I would be happy to make more content about specific things y'all are more interested in. Would definitely be happy to do that. Just let me know what you would like to see, and I'm happy to go into more detail. In the meantime, thank you so much for hanging out with me. As always, an extra big thank you goes out to my Unicorn Fam channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the work that I do here. It really makes a huge difference in what I'm able to do, and I appreciate you so much. To all of you who watch, subscribe, comment, like, do all the fun YouTube things, I appreciate you so much. You never have to comment if you don't want to. I feel your support either way, but those things do definitely help the channel and help us get seen in the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. I try not to worry about the algorithm. I just kind of let it do what it's going to do, but I do understand that those things help, especially just watching the videos. So thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for watching. And until next time, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.